hello. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Bam, bam, bam. Look at that, how quick we transitioned over. We got the dog shirt on, the junkyard dog. I know I've been wearing this a little bit, not too much, but it is one of the nicer long sleeve shirts that I have. We have had some people send in some shirts, and that's pretty cool. Oh, something that I did want to talk about. Of course, we looked over those throwback cars the other day, and hold on, as my big butt gets up, as we're going to be doing the rest of the night, we actually had, and I didn't know it, person I'm staying with actually has a Mike Brooks shirt. I don't know if I could take this out. I'm not going to, but this is a Mike Brooks shirt that was in one of the throwback cars. Once again, Rockstar Wraps. I hit the guy up and told him, hey, we kind of spotlighted some of the stuff you had been doing here recently, and your little fantasy, wraps that you put out. And I know the time takes forever, and he just wanted to say thanks. He's a old school guy. He's not some young kid. Even though he did some innovative work in those wraps. If you haven't checked that out, we actually did. You don't have to go to yesterday's live video. You can actually go onto the channel, and in our videos, not the live tab, but our videos tab, we have 2 videos from yesterday's show, which we're going to be doing more of. Kind of just getting settled in over here in this situation with the studio and everything going on. And my idea that, I've had here in the off season, haven't really been able to settle down and get it done, but now opportunity has arisen to where we'll be doing these live shows at 5 to hopefully 6. I said we were going to do call-ins today. Still may do that. The opportunity's still on the table, but not sure just yet. We may reserve call-ins for tomorrow. Kind of want to get a weekend, maybe Friday night when we ain't got a bedtime and all that stuff. You can stay up, get a little rowdy call-in, and we can get a little a 5-6 hour show in, although I really don't want to do that. But regardless, these 5 to 6, this 1 hour show that we're putting on here, have been putting on now daily, going to be editing that the next day, maybe possibly later in the night when I get back from doing the work, and, putting out little sub clips, because sometimes people just ain't got an hour to watch the whole video. Of course, we started out on Facebook doing lives and driving up and down the road, 400,000 miles and all this stuff, millions of views, obviously, but, the little 8-minute, sub-minute clip kind of videos, that's what everybody aims for, is the 8-minute mark. If you notice, some of the professional people in YouTube land, they go to the 8-minute mark because that's when you open up into the ad placements and things like that. So obviously going to help out there. Funding is what we have to have here. We're not going to get corporatized here. Our biggest corporation to support us is Rayvon, and who the hell knows what Broke Joe's doing. Although he did get some shirts. So Broke Joe does like the shirts. They are on the website, longlivethechaz.com, in the shop, Broke Joe shirts. I guess we can sell them. He bought them. I didn't even know they were on the store. I forgot. I know I made the design, did the design, but they are on there as well with the Blue 316 stuff, the professional gaslighter things. So regardless, our show here, coming back the next day, taking a few of the clips out of there that were more emphasized. I know that, or the ones that I want to emphasize a little more. I know today I put out the grind, the high limit grind. We talked about it yesterday, where when you look at the high limit schedule outside of March, and you're a professional full-time dirt track sprint car team, you're going to race a lot. The outlaw grind, or not as grueling as the outlaw schedule, by the day is a fact, but and like I said, the reality of it is not the case, because they're off for Houston High Banks, they're off for the Knoxville Nationals, they're off for Kings Royal. And if you're a Rico Abreu or Brent Marks or Brad Sweet, are you going to take those days off? I mean, they're open for you to do those days, and those are 4 race weeks, 4-day races. Kings Royal obviously is a 2-day high limit to begin it, but who's not going to stay around the additional 2 days? So that's kind of what I was making, or the point I was making is, even though there's not scheduled dates, that the tour or to be a tour driver with high limit, it just isn't that much less of a full-time gig, and there was some fans, that were kind of upset, not at me pointing it out, but they're becoming upset at this sprint car split. And maybe Friday we'll do a call in to get some full reactions by the end of the week. I'm sure PRI and some more drivers are going to come out. I haven't even checked to see if somebody announced today. We'll do that actually real quick. See if somebody did announce today on High Limit or the World of Outlaws that they are joining the series. Kind of was on some other topics. It looks like no. Actually, yeah, I checked in earlier today. They just kind of announced how they are going to how they have 6 drivers and hoping to add on more and stuff like that. So nothing really coming out of the High Limit stable today. World of Outlaws with 385,000 likes on Facebook. The biggest thing we got, obviously, that's not that great of a deal. They did name the Kennedale Speedway Park show the Brickyard Showdown. Not sure. Obviously, Cowtown Showdown would have been awesome because of the history of that area. But you could have had Stockyard Showdown or something, but it's Brickyard Showdown. Kind of interesting to figure out why that's called Brickyard. Maybe a sponsor, something along those lines. But we'll go ahead and check into the chat real quick and see who has jumped on in. Packing and loading, big time move to Texas, it looks like, for some people here. Here we go. Let's see. It looks like Tucker Drums has entered the chat potentially. Looks like it. Yes, Tucker Drums. There we go. Take it out. Not sure what that means. What's up, my brother? Do you know Amber Stoll from Pittsburgh? It does not ring a bell. $25 on banner. Not sure what that means. And then, hey, Chaz, I'm listening while packing / loading up for the big move to Texas. People have been asking me, should I move back I kind of like where I'm at right now. Obviously, a lot of investments up here to be where I'm at, but Tucker Drums making the move from Vegas all the way to Texas. And he might have, clued in or tuned in because we got some late models. Of course, Tucker Drums a late model fan, and coming up this next week, Gateway Dirt Nationals happening in St. Louis. It is kind of that 1 week. Obviously, we got PRI this week, but PRI is kind of like I don't really go to it just because it's like it's sorority deal almost in a way. But I thought about it. We'll just wait for Gateway where there's some action on the track. But Gateway is that time of year when the Mr. Dome shows up, and Mr. Dome is this guy right here, OT Carp, Tyler Carpenter. And he made a post today on Facebook. My dad is one of the hardest work. Of course, Freddie Carpenter, his dad, Kryptonite Chassis, everybody over there. Wait, somebody just, I guess that doesn't matter. Tyler Carpenter Racing, my dad is one of the most hardest workers I've ever known, and gave us all the blueprint on how to make something out of nothing. Hard work, work ethic. And it's a picture of his car. I never had daddy's money. I have my dad's work ethic. There is a big difference there. I think that racing is one of those things where work ethic can pay off. Obviously, daddy's money can get you a long way, but if you don't have the work ethic, I think that's kind of the biggest thing I would take away from this post is in racing or anything in life, you can have the daddy's money, but if you don't have the work ethic to match it or the work ethic to go along with daddy's money, you're not going to succeed. To whereas if you have the work ethic, but not daddy's money, I think you could succeed in dirt racing. I don't think that's possible in NASCAR and stuff like that unless you're lucky like Larson. You get into the Drive for Diversity programs and you have all these other things going for you, a female, a person of color, all that. You have to have something else going for you. But if you got that daddy's money, you can kind of just buy your way into the starting lineups of the NASCAR asphalt world. But in dirt, we don't really care if you're a young gun, at least in the late model world. I'm scared right now how I see the sprint car world leaning towards the NASCAR way of doing things and rewarding little kids and giving them shots and calling 28-year-olds and 30-year-olds too old. We understand how that works in stick and ball sports because there's high schools and colleges where talent is actually siphoned through and decided on who's the best of society as a whole. You don't have that in racing because of the monetary factor. That's why dirt racing, in my opinion, is the top of the echelon pinnacle of everything, because as long as you work hard, you could be a Ricky Thornton Jr., put a modified on the flatbed, work your way to a super late model stardom. Sprint car world, though, I don't know if that's happening as much. They're shying away. They're pushing away the 25, 28, 30-year-olds, it feels like, unless they're bringing their own operation. It's just the younger kids getting shots. And unfortunately, in the racing world, once again, due to the monetary factor, a lot of the younger kids who are racing even micros or midgets or 305 sprint cars at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 360s, those people are coming from a very privileged position in life to even have a family that has the expendable income upwards of six figures to even put them into those race cars. So I think that it's a big, big issue and very important that dirt racing, and more so speaking to sprint car racing, that you get off your damn privilege high horse and you don't keep on rewarding little kiddies who are good. And when I say kiddies, 16, 17, 18, these are all people who have not punched a work clock to be able to earn their way behind the wheel of that race car, no matter how damn good they are. Now, there's room for those people in dirt racing. I'm speaking of, because NASCAR's too far gone, and I don't want dirt and this form of sport to go too far either. But there's room for those people, but there also needs to be room and a representation for the working class individual. I think one of the biggest things that people are shying away from NASCAR taking off in the Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Sr. era isn't just that a movie literally came to life pretty much word for word, but the fact that it was a young, rich, preppy kid-looking character versus the old working man character. Instead of the working man versus the boss, it was the working man versus the boss's kid type of thing. And that kind of battle gave each side someone to cheer for. The upper class, the lower class, the middle, the hardworking class, everyone in between. And when you become too one-sided, you distance yourself from relatability to the society that is around us, and you lose notoriety. You lose fans. You lose eyes. You lose attention. I think that's why attention is coming to us slowly in the dirt world, because we're not what NASCAR is. People can't relate to these young kids because no one can relate to them. I mean, when we're talking about, like I just got through saying, and it's not crazy to say so, that you probably need about, $100,000 to run a 360 sprint car operation, where you're considering the trailers and the motors and the chassis and the shocks. And it's like 80% of America is $1,000 emergency bill away from being homeless. So how can people relate to those people? So once again, I'm just trying to reiterate here, back to the daddy's money. I think that if you don't have the work ethic with daddy's money, you're going to go nowhere. But if you have the work ethic without daddy's money, you can, as long as we properly reward people for success. That means, in my opinion, Jade Avedizian winning in a midget should be placed in the same aspect or below, in my opinion, of an accomplishment of somebody like a Dallin Murdy winning the IMCA Super Nationals in an IMCA stock car. Or Ricky Thornton Jr., what he did in his mid to early 20s. Or some of these, Justin Sanders on the West Coast, what they're doing in local regional racing. Some of these guys deserve that hype that these younger kids get simply because they were born in a privileged position of life. So that's the bigger issue. That's the reason I address it as much. That's why I try to represent the working class, the locals. I do a lot of stuff with local racers who've never got that national clout because they had to go get a job at 18. They had to go figure out a way to earn $100,000 to throw out the window. And that's just for 360 stuff. I mean, I don't think you could get on the track for $100,000 in a 410. But for those guys who could be Tom Brady's, Tom Brady talent to Tim Tebow talent, or any talent, is natural. It's God-given. You could go out there and train. I laugh at people when they got a coach or something in racing. It's like, you could go out there and beat Tim Tebow and pray to God and practice for hours and hit the gym and be celibate. It don't matter. Tom Brady could come out there half drunk and throw the ball 10 times better than you can. I don't think you could teach talents like that. And I think that there's a lot of guys and gals, mind you, in their 25 to 35 year age range, racing locally in different divisions across the country, who are more talented than our biggest stars that we see in our sport, sprint car and late model combined. Just how our biggest stars in dirt racing are better than the national prowess people in NASCAR, because they had another sector of money and privilege that they didn't get to have. So this is something that is a very interesting post that Tyler Carpenter put here. Of course, Tyler Carpenter, as I proclaimed him, I guess, Mr. Dome, has done pretty damn well in the Dome, and it is kind of a wrecker fest. I mean, let's not joke ourselves here. Not so much of a wrecker all the time, unless, wrecker as far as like the truck, because these are late models. They got starters. I do think starters should come to sprint cars. Maybe High Limit and Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson will do something about that, but they won't like me saying that. The sprint car people just tuned out. Oh, screw this guy. But regardless, it is interesting. Gateway Dirt Nationals, you do kind of throw some of the money out the window. It ain't all the engineering and all that stuff. You can't really utilize it there in the Dome. Obviously, setup matters a little bit. We just saw Brandon Shepard and the Longhorn Factory team doing laps at Millbridge, which it actually looked pretty damn good. If y'all over there at Millbridge wanted to do like a pre-Dome race, I think that could work at Millbridge. I think you could make that happen. I mean, there ain't as much room, or it's just as much room, I would say, as the Dome. And it was very similar, very smart by Brandon Shepard and them to go test that late model. If you haven't seen the video I'm talking about, go to the Dirt Trackers channel after the video here today and check that out, because it is actually really damn interesting and good. So regardless, there is some testing, there is some stuff, but it's about putting your ass on the line and willing to go out there and just, maybe a Tyler Carpenter's willing to junk his shit because he knows he's fixing it. And when you go in the pits after Tyler Carpenter's had a heat race and this is bent and that's dented, he's over there working on it and fixing it himself. Admirable, back to the work ethic without the daddy's money. So very interesting here. Now, another interesting thing, the only thing that happened at the Dome last year that did involve Tyler Carpenter, because he did lose last year. Tyler Erb won the event literally right after his dad passed, and big emotional moment for Tyler Carpenter. Amazing win for that team in that whole situation there. Tyler Carpenter, though, did make the headlines as the new deal. And what are we talking about? We're talking about Hudson O'Neal and him getting together. Now, I don't know if I can play this video. Y'all send a damn super chat. I'm gonna play what I'm talking about, because last year Hudson O'Neal and Tyler Carpenter got into it. Now, Flow Racing's really good at flagging videos if you show anything. I got the volume off here. Let's see. This is what happened last year at Gateway. Let's see. That's Carpenter putting O'Neal into the wall. Ran out of room for sure. And contact was made, and Hudson O'Neal's weak end was basically destroyed. He didn't like it much. He went up there. He spun old Carpenter around. Carpenter calls himself the new deal. Let's see if there's another angle on this wreck. I'm not sure, but it was one of those deals. And now you got Boom Briggs coming back into the fray. Oh, let me get that over there. There you go. So there's the hit, there's the contact, and there's the retaliation on the track right here. Let's see here. Yeah, he comes up here, spins him around. So the interesting thing is, now you got Boom Briggs and Hudson O'Neal teaming up together, and maybe Boom Briggs is like, hey, I got this car, I bent it up. And this is what most people are doing nowadays with the Dome. They go into the racing season and they get into a wreck. It bends the chassis. And in previous years, they'd just be like, not necessarily scrap, but that car's junk. Now they're saying, oh, put that car off to the side. That's my new Dome ride. And we know that Boom Briggs is Boom Boom the Wall. His nickname is Boom Boom for many damn reasons. And there's probably a car around there that's got a little dent in it. And maybe... This is the green light from Boom Boom for Hudson O'Neal to go boom boom and back. You know what I'm saying? So this will be interesting. Very interesting Tando. I wouldn't have thought Mark Richards will take the Rocket 1 to the Dome. So this is actually a good thing for most fans, because you're going to get Hudson O'Neal there in a good ride. Boom Briggs' equipment is not junk. And I'm halfway joking saying he probably wrecked a car and he's got one for him to drive. But if I was a fendered guy, that's how I would pick my Dome car, because, Gateway of Destruction is true. There is a lot of destruction that happens in that Dome, as you just saw, not just in racing close, but also just in racing there, because The track can get very ruddy, get some character, as they call it. The wall is where you kind of want to be, and you want to be able to slam that wall and kind of bank off of it, it seems like, to get some speed up and down the straightaways. You got to be willing to destroy a race car to run well at the Dome, which is next weekend, by the way. We're just giving a little bit of a preview today because trying to fill up a little bit of time as we saw the Tyler Carpenter situation in his post and had some comments on it, as we just gave you, but this is interesting and good news for late model fans. Ricky Thornton Jr. is going to be there. I'm assuming Bobby Pierce is going to be there, a former event winner. And it's going to be good. I'm assuming Tyler Erb. I mean, it's going to be awesome. We'll run down the full event entry list next week at some point. But just a little preview. Are we going to see Tyler Carpenter versus Hudson O'Neal 2? Because I think the green light on the 99 car run the shit. I can hear Boom Briggs in my hair, or in my head, or maybe in my hair too, in my head right now saying, you know, tipping a bush light in the trailer, fuck them up, go get them. You know, I could see Boom Briggs saying that. I don't give a shit, you know, fuck that car. I could see Boom Briggs is very interesting, great character, hung around with him, good guy. What else? Well, hold on, let's see what people are thinking here in the chats of this whole ordeal. Carpenter haters are funny. They are soy boys. You can tell because they get all emotional. Okay, Tucker in here with some inside info possibly. That car that Boom gave him was destined to be a crate car for Boom's 21-year-old nephew, who we actually did a video on him racing at the XR event at Dubuque. So go check that out. But that's interesting. I was assuming this car was kind of a thrower-awayer car. If Davenport or some other good old boy did that, it would be okay. We're just out here having fun. He wanted to take the hillbilly out, was just waiting for a reason. I don't think so. I don't think that Hudson O'Neal did that intentionally at all. He was to his outside. He put him in the wall. I mean, that was not just a racing ordeal. Accident racing deal. Carpenter was in the wrong, but it happens. True. The Chaz is the best. You are the underdog. Dallin Murdy is the man. The Dome, a.k.a. the Tyler Carpenter invitation. That's funny. That is some funny stuff right there. Let's get back down to the bottom. But anyway, also, to add to the fray today, we did have the USAC National Series come out with 3 schedules. Silver Crown, Sprint Car, obviously the biggest one, and a midget. I mean, is there really anything to talk about here? I mean, I get how they call it a national schedule, but I don't. I mean, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, California, Indiana. And this is just another reason as to why I just don't take midget racing serious. Now, at Eldora, I mean, that's a scary scenario. Scary scenario. I don't really see anything popping out that is so new or different here on the schedule. Tulare Thunderbolt, that'll be interesting. Actually, that is a new one. That is the one new one that I do see here. November 20th. Thunderbolt Raceway, Tulare, California. That is going to be dangerous. That's a dangerous race. That's watching to see what's going to happen type stuff there on the midget schedule. Over to the sprint car. Let's see what we got over here. So they actually do open up in Florida. Didn't see a Florida date on the midget schedule. Winter Dirt Games there. Bubba, Volusia. They are going to Volusia. I believe that's a Tando night with the late models. And then Terre Haute, Red Hill, Illinois. Once again, Indiana. East Coast Swing, PA, New Jersey. 2 dates in Wisconsin. Nice to see that, I guess. Indiana, the rest of the year. Crandall, Texas. Actually, we do have a Texas date down here. Looks like they are doing a Southern Swing there at the end of the year. Looks like RPM, Texarkana, and then back up to Indy. So, once again, a full series of basically Indiana. and Florida. One swing to the East Coast and then a little dip into Wisconsin, which, I mean, no California swing, so midget's a little more national than this. But obviously way more dates, non-wing sprint cars, a little more respectable, in my opinion. And then you got the big cars, the original Indy cars here, the series that used to be above the World of Outlaws and everybody back in the day. You know, they talk about, you know, Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt racing dirt, and it wasn't just because they were there to give back or some bullshit. I mean, Silver Crown races were paying like $30,000 in the 70s. Like, that was premier money back then. So those guys raced Silver Crown cars and champ cars for the money. It was big money. And this technically was the premier division of dirt racing until NASCAR turned it into a stepping stone, and then they changed the cars into wannabe Indy cars, and it's just been a whole ordeal ever since. Of course, they're 100-lap races, so people really don't like them sometimes. But I was at the Belleville High Bank show last year, was the spotter for Brady Bacon. We actually won the race. That Belleville High Banks race with Silver Crown was just amazing. I mean, it was awesome. Really good race for the lead. I believe it was between him and Grant. Right up on the wall, very sketchy, very good race. May 17th and 18th. I don't know if that's a 2-day or if it's just a 1-day qualifier, kind of like they do Eldora, qualifying the first day, racing the second. Of course, that is tandoed with the USAC midgets. They're racing both nights, so more than likely it'll be like this year. First night, full night of midget racing, qualifying for the Silver Crown. Second night, full night of midget racing, and then the main event for the Silver Crown division. But pretty much the same as last year here. Belleville was on the schedule last year. Jennerstown Speedway in PA. I'm not sure. Is that an asphalt? Yes, it has a P on it. So that's a pavement race in Pennsylvania. Of course, these cars go dirt and pavement. Terre Haute Action Track has a date. Pretty much the same thing, though. Pretty much the same thing as last year. And then that's pretty much it on the USAC schedule. Anyone in the chat, what do you got going on down here? Weak-ass payouts. Yes, I mean, the problem with USAC is the weak-ass payouts. There's no way around it. I mean, they don't really pay well. And that I don't know why they settle for it, but even when they put on big paying events, like you had the big paying event at Houston's there for a couple years, and they couldn't really get a lot of cars up there. I'm not sure why. Kurt Spurgeon says something different, but regardless, yeah, pay is just not where it should be, especially considering where the pay used to be. Like I said, Silver Crown used to topple all dirt racing action. Daniel Sacker says Jennerstown is a great ad for them. It's a big 5/8, I think. So interesting. 5/8 of a mile. There was a few posts that went around that was a little bit interesting. There was some stuff with Donnie Schatz today. Looks like a little filming session here at TSR, him and Tony Stewart. So people still speculating on the Schatz situation. I don't really think there's much to speculate here. I think that Donnie Schatz will be an outlaw racer. I'm not sure how. I mean, you hear Gravel in his shows. He talks like he's coming back and that he's just there, and that makes sense to me. I mean, Donnie Schatz going to the outlaw, I think he would rather retire than go to the High Limit Series personally. But doing or filming a commercial for, it looks like with Tony Stewart and Sage Fruit at the TSR shop today. So it looks like, obviously, PRI, Donnie Schatz in town in Indianapolis. That's where the TSR shop is located. So makes sense. But a Sage Fruit commercial. And the interesting thing about that, though, Sage Fruit is based out of Washington. You know, and obviously drivers and their sponsors, teams and their sponsors, like to support events that their sponsors are involved with. So I'm not really sure how that is going to work out. Could Donnie be a high limit guy? I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think he would rather retire than go be a high limit and turn his back on the Outlaws. But Sage Fruit, a big part of this team. And Sage Fruit, you know, the big outlaw swing up to Skagit the last few years has been a Sage Fruit event. And that's where they're based out of. So who knows? Who really knows what that could mean with that partnership with Sage Fruit that they've had for so many years? It could mean something. It could be. Oh, we got us a breaking news. Breaking news, it looks like. Let's confirm. Let's confirm here. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what we have here today. Oh no. Oh my. So it has been made official. It is official. Announced just on his Facebook page. Rico Abreu has chosen High Limit. It looks like to be the case here. So Rico Abreu. Wow. That's a change. That is a change. So how about that? Rico Abreu announcing on his Facebook that he is going to the High Limit Series. That definitely mixes it up. That makes people anticipating at least someone who could give Brad Sweet a run for his money. And obviously featuring the great crew members at Rico Abreu Racing, RAR. And getting pretty sure that's that tequila sponsor right there that he's pouring that bottle from. And it looks like the truth is out with Rico Abreu committing to the High Limit Tour. And then you got Ricky Warner saying, you know, stop playing with chips and let's race. Wow. Wow. I mean, some people saw it coming. Some people didn't. Wow. Interesting. Interesting things there. What do y'all think of that? What do y'all think about High Limit being the choice for Rico Abreu being announced here on his Facebook page while we are live here? That's a live reaction. I support Flow Racing, says the Premier 410 Sprint Car Tour High Limit Racing. Welcome, Rico. And there it is. Rico just announced on social media. High Limit. He was with Brad getting stickers at lunch. Yeah, we saw that as well. We did see the picture and talked about it. It will be interesting to see him. Once again, Rico Abreu, one of those people, when you hear that High Limit schedule, more time with your family, he's going to be at, you know, I would assume Huset's, Knoxville, Williams Grove National Open, Kings Royal. I'm assuming that Rico Abreu is going to attend these races, and that's going to make that 60 chillax time with the family go out the window. Now, who else could potentially be joining? That's the question. Who else could potentially be? Who could potentially be a challenger for these two guys now? Because now you also have Brad Sweet, Rico, but who's going to come in there and give him a little bit of a challenge? I mean, I definitely think that High Limit needed Rico. But what about Marks? That's the question. What about marks? The big three. Who would y'all like to see join? Hold on just a second. Just had to make a few adjustments here. That helps the series more than Rico. It does. I mean, the series definitely needed Rico more than Rico needed the series. There's no way around that. Let's see here. So that gives us Sweet. We got Eliason. We got Zeb Wise. We got Rico. Got Jacob Allen. Got Brenham Crouch. And Casey Kane. I do believe that is our lineup for High Limit. Somebody not announced yet. Brent Marks, still a star. Courtney, still a star. Baston, still throwing up there. Where's he at? Where's he going to be? Peck and Austin McCarl. I've heard Austin McCarl's name get thrown around a lot. If I was High Limit, I would extremely look for trying to find a way to get Peck into the series. I think Peck is a very equatable driver, action, fan favorite, kind of fan favorite. Obviously doesn't come with the last name, but I think he toe for toes there with Sheldon, especially in driving style. I mean, Justin Peck, he does some stuff that makes Sheldon look like he ain't even on it sometimes. I mean, there was one move last year, I believe it was at Bridgeport. My God, I mean, Peck went all the way for it. You also, that's another one, James McFadden. And you also, like you said there, Buddy Kofoid, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then, obviously Landon Crowley announcing Rookie of the Year with the Outlaws this year. If Buddy Kofoid was to potentially go with the World of Outlaws, how much of a difference would that be? I mean, how much of a difference would that be? I mean, that's a big one. That's a big one. Like, would you not pick Buddy Kofoid to win the championship if that's the case? I'm hearing that Kofoid potentially is going Roth onto the High Limit Tour. That's what I've heard. And that they're only doing one team. I don't know how truthful that is. It's not like it's an amazing... It's not like I was talking to Jeremy Elliott hearing that, but... yeah, right there. Peck drove by Larson at Kokomo to win. I think Justin Peck is a Sheldon, a potential better Sheldon, in my opinion. That is just not got that national ride. We opened it up with opportunity and things. And obviously Rico announcing that he's going to High Limit, that's opportunity. But Justin Peck hasn't really had any opportunity to speak of. I mean, he's got into the 13 car. He's got shots regionally, and he's done very well for himself. But I'm telling you, if you gave Justin Peck a JJR-style opportunity, something along those lines, we still ain't heard about JJR, what's happening there. Carson Macedo, Cole Macedo, are they going to split a team? Cole down the High Limit Trail, Carson down the Outlaw Trail. I heard the people behind the 41 won an Outlaw championship. But we got to remember that 41 team isn't necessarily an Outlaw staple. They were the ASCS team that went World Outlaw Racing that nobody really gave two shits to care about, except for the 360 fan base. And I always remember when Jason Johnson went on the road against the Outlaws, I always saw that as, here's the little guy, the 360 ASCS. I'm from Texas, saw him race for years. Let's see what he can do on that next level, kind of making a big step. And so that's not necessarily like a stapled team, per se. It's not like they got, World Outlaw blood running through their veins, like Roth might or some of these other established entities. So it will be interesting to see what could happen there with the 83, with the 41, and even the Crouch 11. I heard Crouch 11. If the rumor is true about Kofoid and the Roth car going to the World of Outlaws, a scenario like James McFadden into that 11 car at Crouch sounds like a really good combo because that 11 car is just fast. It's just fast. I heard they got some management situations or issues or something like that, but I'm assuming it ain't going to be something they can't overcome, especially if you're going to throw a talent like James McFadden behind the wheel and a man. So you can't disrespect him. You can't really overrun him or push him around. He gets in there. It'll be interesting to see what James McFadden could do with that 11 car. I thought James McFadden was one of the best racers of this year. Outside of that tire issue, he could have been a shot for a top 4 in the World Outlaw standings, I think. JAS Move 1166 says, I remember when Jason Johnson ran for Jack Eldon in the 22. I believe that was his PA days. Rich Smith says, I personally have nothing but contempt for the rank opportunist high limit series, but I like Rico. Best of luck to him next season. And high limit doesn't, even though the schedule, I think, lines up to be just as much as the World Outlaw schedule, if you're doing it full time like a Rico potentially could race more than an Outlaw. I'm curious to see the numbers on that. By the end of this time next year, I think it is probable that a Rico Abreu, even though he's committed to the high limit series, will technically race more than a World of Outlaw driver, because there is a lot of weekend dates, or with the Outlaws, but they're not allowed to race before the races. Whereas there's 60 races with high limit, races, I believe 12 in the middle of the week. The dates that they are off are open for 4 days at Houston, a week at Knoxville, 2 days at Kings Royal, 2 days at Williams Grove. The Marquee Outlaw events is when they're off, so a Rico, a Marks, any of those guys are going to run that. And then additionally, because who knows, they don't have anything, who knows what other race could come up that they would run. But I just think that a high limit driver is going to end up racing more next year than an Outlaw driver, just based on the schedules. Now, there is time off if you, as a 410 sprint car operation, aren't going to race for $250,000 at Houston, aren't going to race for a Knoxville Nationals crown or a Kings Royal crown for $275 or $175 or whatever they're going to pay this year. So it is going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting to see how those numbers line up. I saw Homelight said, Sunshine, where's he going? I think he's going high limit. The toss-up name right now, I would say, is Spencer Baston. I think he got a lot of experience in the World of Outlaws. He really kind of stapled his name into the wing sprint car community with that Outlaw banner, with the 5 car. That's a really good combo. That 5 and Spencer Baston's becoming an identity. When I say an identity, I mean a driver. When you hear the name, you think of a number. You think of a car. When I say to you Steve Kinzer, what do you think? When I say to you Donnie Schatz, what do you think? When I say to you Sammy Swindell, when I say to you Dale Earnhardt Jr., when I say to you Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, just go down the list. Established names with drivers and their cars are very important, especially the marketing aspect in this sport. So Baston built that, I believe, relationship with a name and a number and a car with the 5 machine. Will they go high limit and take away all that established credibility that they had gotten? I don't think it'll go away, but I do think that if anyone can say they built a brand on the Outlaw Tour, Spencer Baston did a damn good job of that, and credit to him. I mean, he performed. He performed and did a pretty damn good, consistent job. But obviously, a guy who's from the midget ranks wasn't he did wing sprint car racing. Obviously, he won at Lincoln in the Swindell Speed Lab car. But really establishing his name in wing sprint car racing, not just a midget guy trying it out, I think that's where Spencer Baston did it. Now, another name that I think is a hot seat draft pick that nobody, I don't know if anybody, we're waiting to see those super chats. I'm going to keep talking. A hot seat driver that I don't know, and maybe this is another driver for that 11 Crouch team car. Because in my opinion, this is the name I'm about to drop to you, and I've said it a few times, and you're going to be like, oh my God, Chaz, shut up. This is a Kyle Larson-esque, Christopher Bell-esque talent out there right now that, in my opinion, is rotting his career away in USAC racing. His career is, and it hurts my feelings. I told him at Knoxville last year at the bar at the Dingus, and I was trying to get him to commit. I'm thinking about doing agency work because I feel like I could promote some drivers pretty damn well. I should be charging y'all for talking about you, and y'all want to charge me likeness and shit. I'm making you famous, no matter if I'm talking about you in a positive light, like Donnie Schatz or any. Honestly, I just give a fair opinion, no matter which way. Everybody's like, "Are you team high limit or outlaws?" How I can't tell. Well, I'm just trying to be fair to everybody. But this guy just needs a ride, and he could win any big race, and he almost won the Trophy Cup, and to me, that is Logan Seavey. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've seen the resume of Logan Seavey, guy who jumped in a truck at Eldora in his younger years when they were stifling little kiddies and almost won the damn race first try. I mean, literally won the Trophy Cup this last year with the best of the best drivers in the country there, and was a couple pounds heavy because light because the race lasted like 100 laps because of cautions and reds and no refueling. But this Logan Seavey, obviously defending Chili Bowl Nationals champion, this is a winged sprint car race. This is a Kyle Larson, Chris Bell guy. And I think that if you put Logan Seavey into a Crouch 11 car or into a decent, good operational winged sprint car team, you're picking up wins. Logan Seavey, I don't care if it's High Limit or World of Outlaws. Logan Seavey's winning within the first 20 races that he's on the track. Logan Seavey is winning one of those races in either series. He's going to win one. Whether it's World of Outlaws or whichever one you think's more harder right now to win in. There's a big argument right now, especially if Marks commits. We just got Rico's announcement that he committed. But there's a big argument that if it's Rico, Sweet, and Marks over there on the high limit side, Rico, Sweet, Marks, that might be a little harder to beat on a night in, night out basis than Gravel, Macedo, and who? Logan? Logan's good. No discredit there. I shouldn't have said Logan and did the look away. That's disrespectful. I apologize. I will apologize when I'm wrong. Logan, you're a damn good racer. But I'm just saying, toe for toe, buddy. Toe for toe. We got, once again, I still stand on the fact there's an asterisk on the Outlaw title this year. The Francis Ngannou, the dominant fighter of the World Outlaw organization, has left. It's a vacant belt. It will be won by someone else. You're not beating the best of the best when you win it. The best of the best, based on 5 years of an example, is Brad Sweet. Then you're bringing in Rico, who was potentially, in my opinion, the hottest driver of the year. I even said that there was a potential 1A scenario with the High Limit Sprint Car Series Championship just this year, because to win it, you would have had to beat Kyle Larson, who did win it. But if you was to beat Kyle Larson, that's almost more glorifying than beating Brad Sweet on the Outlaw Tour, because most people consider Kyle Larson just that much better than everyone. So you beat the GOAT. You beat the greatest of all time if you could have won the High Limit Sprint Car Series Championship. So, and Rico was that damn close to beating the GOAT, the greatest of all. Add a bunch of new tracks, add a bunch of equal playing fields. So you got Sweet, the most dominant World Outlaw driver, based on the results, with Rico, potentially the hottest driver off of this last year, especially when it comes to what he did the year before. And then Britt Marks. Talking about year before, I mean, Britt Marks was fast this year, but what he did in 2022, especially at Eldora, was amazing. So, Gravel, Macedo, Shoothart versus the big three, Sweet, Marks, or potentially Marks, and Rico. Which I'm hearing Marks is on the fence. Everybody's hearing he's on the fence. And I'm telling you that I don't care which one you think is harder, but if you threw Sweet in there, or Seavey in there, either side, so that's a guy who's going to win a race in the first 20 outings. It's going to take him. He could do it quicker than that. I mean, look how fast Kofoid won at Volusia this year. So I think in reality sense, you got two very big threes. And as far as where people are going, a name that's not on the list, Logan Seavey. This is a guy, please, somebody. I almost want to beg for him. I was telling him this last year at Dingus. Save Logan Seavey's career. Please, somebody. He's rotting away in USAC. This is a Larson Bell-esque talent with a similar resume up until he got stuck in USAC. You know, Kyle went to USAC, so he did too, and it just didn't happen the same way. No diversity to his bloodline, I guess. I don't know. But somebody save Logan Seavey. This is a champion at the top levels of dirt racing. And obviously he was a champion this year, I believe, in USAC anyways. But, I mean, that circle is not worth going around. Especially when you're comparing to these other opportunities. Hell, Logan Seavey in a late model. Somebody just save him. Late model country, sprint car country, somebody, wing sprint car country, somebody save the unknown Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, known as Logan Seavey. And I only say unknown because he runs USAC and no one pays attention to that shit anyway. So somebody go and save him. Get to the comments now. The big three is very comparable here. I think the big three is very comparable. That's my point, Chaz. Why would you join High Limit Series when you have no chance to win? You think so? You think that nobody will have a chance to beat them? You think nobody could beat Sweet and Rico week in and week in and week out? You think no one could do it? I think you could. I think CV's could. I think Tyler Courtney's still severely underrated. I know people are saying he's a good wing racer and blah, 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 but when you talk about Courtney potentially going to High Limit, that's an underrated driver. If you put James McFadden into High Limit, that's a title contender. I'm telling you, he was one of the most, in my opinion, James McFadden was one of the most consistent drivers of 2023. Yeah, there was this and that, and the tire issue really set him back. But James McFadden is a championship driver, I think. I saw him doing some stuff that was just amazing, and I don't think it was his tires. I'm sorry, guys. Don't think it was his tires. Logan Seavey is the next Justin Sanders. Chaz just called it. And that's what I'm saying. And maybe Justin Sanders could get an opportunity. I heard he was getting national opportunities, but it ain't happened. We ain't seen an announcement yet. Maybe he's a candidate for that 11 car. If that 11 car is even existing, Brendan Crouch is now going to a national scene. Was that 11 just kind of a developmental team, and now they're just going to junk it and put all their money and eggs into that basket of Brendan Crouch? Who knows? But Sanders, Seavey, these would be two names that would be great to add to the High Limit roster. Just got to find cars. Once again, this is the big difference between the late model world that does this 2 National Series deal versus the sprint car world trying to do it. Late models, they're not corporatized. They don't need all these people to get behind them and support 6 or 7 cars. Late models have super late models everywhere. They got them everywhere. They're in every state of the eastern half of the United States of America. They got them. The money's there. The small businesses, the regular working class is over there, and they're putting money into their sport. Their money hasn't been going to little kids and midgets trying to go to NASCAR for 30 fucking years. They've been doing it right over there. So this is the issue. We got drivers like CV and Sanders out there that can't get rides because there ain't nobody to actually fund a national ride that can stay on the road. We don't got them. We're losing talent because of this psychological influx into this sport for 30 years. And I've just been trying to tell y'all, and y'all can't handle it. Y'all don't want to understand. You just don't want to understand. It's okay. It's okay. You'll make it. You'll make it. Let's see here. Don't forget about Shoehart, Lucky Dash, Justin Sanders needs a high limit ride, not against it, Mr. Runner Up, and Macedo. Yeah, I mean Macedo. What? Didn't CV run the high limit race at Kokomo last year? I think so, but I'm just saying CV just needs a little time. Kaylee Bryson teaming up with Sammy Swindell for Chili Bowl was announced today. Speak of his name. That's interesting. Interesting combination. Kaylee Bryson, once again, I was a real big fan, hoping to see what any of these midget girls can do in sprint cars. They try to run away from competition and go to NASCAR. I think that's what Avidision's doing, road racing or whatever, going up against the other richer people. They don't want to get out here in this ocean with all these sharks in the dirt world of the sprint car industry because, once again, I've documented it. Hopefully, maybe she'll get another ride and shut me the fuck up. But Kaylee Bryson was getting beat by weekly guys. And I don't even know, is there a touring ASCS driver roster? USCS. I said US. I didn't say USAC. I didn't say ASCS. I said USCS. This is like 3rd grade in sprint car racing, and she couldn't keep up. She couldn't keep up. I covered Tucker Bolton, a local kid busting his ass, racing weekly at Riverside, and he was beating her. And she was in a really well-funded car. So I don't know how to feel about Kaylee Bryson. She can go out there and do great midgets where there's about 20, once again, the issue with the Chili Bowl, there's about 20 to 25 cars that are funded to win that race, and the rest are there on a vacation. And then there's some guys that are really talented in lesser funded cars who can keep up with her and stay with her. But I'm just saying, hopefully Kaylee Bryson can get in a real race car here soon and disprove me. But what I saw in the USCS outings that she was in, I extremely heartbroken. I guess that's why I can't let it go. I was heartbroken because I thought I want a woman racer in this sport. I want, African American. I want everyone to be represented in this sport based on merit. I want badasses. I don't want Bubba Wallaces. I want Michael Jordans. Does that make sense to anyone? Does that make any kind of sense? Some Venus Williams. Let's get some killers, people with some merit into the sport. Not just people who buy midget rides and look good. I'm talking about come out here into the jungle and whoop some sprint car ass. Let's see what you got. Because what you're doing over there in them kitty cars ain't shit to me. Chaz, which series would you join if you had a ride? I don't think I would join either series. I would be full outlaw because let me tell you, if you're full outlaw, you only have to go to like 3 regions the entire year. Full outlaw is 3 regions the entire year. Or 4. Let's say 4. Go to Florida in February, January. I'd be personally, if I was going full outlaw and I had a sprint car team, I'd be hitting up late model guys. Hey, you want me to run this? Want me to run that? But I would be going to Florida February. Then you go to the Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas area from the beginning of March to the end of April. And then at the end of April, maybe do a little here, a little there. Next thing you know it, freaking Kings Royals around, Summer of Money in PA Speed Weeks into June, Houston's High Maintenance Nationals right before that. You do a little Midwest swing, and then you go after Knoxville all the way out to the West Coast from August 15th to the end of September because there's all these races, 100,000 at Skagit, 100,000 at Silver Dollar, and then high limit goes to PA across the country. But then the Outlaws come to town, and you got the Tom Tarleton for 21,000 and the 83,000 to win Roth race. I would not even think about being on one tour or the other. There's just too many opportunities to not be. What series is still dominating the Chili Bowl? I don't know. I guess, you would have said NASCAR prior to last year's win when Larson and Bell wasn't there and CV won. But prior to that, NASCAR, right? NASCAR was the dominant series of the Chili Bowl with Bell and Larson, correct? Amundo. Bill Rhodes is going to win 15 to 20 races in World of Outlaws. Don't forget about that big sign Woo got. That's a car that a Logan Seavey could have got into and contended and really done something special in. Bill Roses of the world, I'm not being disrespectful because he has given a lot of opportunity to people, but I think the Bill Roses of the world need to give up-and-comers, not just young kids, but Logan Seavies of the world. I think he gave Cody Hartlub a shot in PA. Big deal. I think Bill Rose in a Logan Seavey combo would have been amazing. Could you imagine a Rookie of the Year race this year with Landon Crawley, Logan Seavey, and Buddy Kofoid? Would that not be an amazing rookie contenders race that everybody would want to see? Who wouldn't want to see that? But, just saying. Sammy Swindell is the GOAT at Chili Bowl. Used to be, I would say, not anymore. Not anymore. The sad thing, though, is that Kaylee Bryson is a better race car driver than Hailie Deegan or Jesse Love. This is true. Back to the next level. Once you get past the little, tax bracket, you go to another tax bracket, and that's where Hailie Deegan's and everyone are located. But Hailie Deegan and Jesse Love promoted to the world is the best in the world. Yes, but you still have to worry about the microcosm of the situation where Kaylee Bryson is still a lower level talent than Tucker Bolton, a local 360 racer who was waxing her ass up and down the track last year. So that's why I don't really rank USAC that high. I just don't rank USAC midget accomplishments as a big thing. Didn't Rose give Gravel his first shot at out? Yeah, he did. I think that was a sign that it should have been opened up for the rest of the year. We're going to have to put Spike in a damn timeout again. Back to these misogynistic comments of Hannah Newhouse wants my milk for her cookies. Listen to this disgusting. That's not even funny, Spike. Most of the time you're funny, but these women ones aren't funny. Rico signing to high limits is the worst idea ever. Brad and Kyle must have greased him under the table to commit. Do you think some teams do not pursue CV because of his past medical issues? I don't think so. Jack Hottenshot won the Mopar Million non-wing race. Okay, that was how many years ago? Doesn't apply anymore. I support Flow Racing, Tyler Courtney, USAC drivers, Chaz. Keep an eye out on Ryan Timms. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does, or Corey Day. Those are two younger guns. USAC Sprint's greatest racing in the world. Keep hating Chaz. I just think y'all don't have any competition. I think if you took the top 20 to 35 winged racers across 410 and 360 winged racers, and you put them in USAC cars, just like CV, I think within 10 to 15, 20 races, they would dominate the series. I think the only people you would have left in the top 10 is maybe a Chase Stockin or Logan or not. Well, maybe a Logan CV. There's a few guys, Justin Grant, maybe Robert Ballou every now and then, a couple other guys. But I just think that the talent levels, nobody with talent coming up in racing is going to USAC. I mean, unfortunately, I think CV was the last one to really do that. But ever since then, everybody's been going winged racing for how long? So the talent pools are in winged sprint cars or super late models, but that's Fender. I just think that most of the talent has been pursuing winged racing careers for quite some time now, and that's where the talent's located. That's just how I see it. It sucks. Non-wing sprint cars are great. It's great to watch. It's great to see. But the roster, I just don't see it. Yeah, I forgot Cody announced that. I just remember the Indy race parts and 11 time always being close, or 11 team. Okay, interesting. Bill Rowe. Okay, let's see what we got for new comments. You're totally wrong. The top 5 guys in USAC are on another level in terms of talent. You have it backwards. Depth of field isn't the same as the guys at the top. T-Mez wants to put a wing on, but why don't he? Wins 305 races. I'm not here to trash USAC guys, but I'm talking with logic. You're talking with emotion. What he just said right there is emotion. And he's probably, the support Flow Racing guys, probably from Indiana. Right here. Grew up on the non-wing stuff, talking with emotion, how much it means to him. Top 5 guys in USAC are on another level in terms of talent. Okay, so where did you get them from? Did they grow up in Indiana their whole life? Where are they from? Are they guys who couldn't cut it in the wing cars and wanted to go somewhere else and make a living? Where are they coming from? USAC midget guys are going to NASCAR or World of Outlaws. Where's this supreme talent pool that y'all are pulling from? Where's y'all's younger guns? Oh, your younger guns don't come to USAC because there's no money to be made. What are you talking about? The money to make is in wing racing and open wheel, period. And you got to go. It ain't like the Fender world where you have USMTS modifieds. You can make close to the same, get near some decent money as the super late model guys. It's not like there's 2 divisions here of money-making tendencies. It's not even, you could compare ASCS 360 National Tour to USAC, but is there even a debate on who has more talent, ASCS or the World of Outlaws? So that's just what I'm saying here. The money, the pursuing, the idolization has been in wing sprint cars for quite some time now. I mean, Loud Pedal gave the non-wing world a little bit of a boost to make people want to race non-wing. And I think the non-wing racing's great. I think it takes more talent to drive a non-wing car. I do think it takes more talent, especially in race conditions, to drive a non-wing sprint car. But I still see guys with talent not pursuing non-wing cars. And I'm not going to sit here and be dumb and say that guys who can drive 140, even though they're on the pedal on a dry, slick-ass Eldora racetrack up on the wall with a wing on, can't adapt to a little slower reaction in the non-wing cars in a relatively 15 to 20 race span and dominate the series. I just think that's the case. I don't think talent pools have been going to USAC sprint car racing. And I would, me personally, I just put it a little lower because of that. I just do. That's what I do. Give my opinion. Who cares? I could see Ryan Timms racing high limit. If high limit gets too many more good cars, people will decide it's more money beneficial to join Outlaws because it will be easier to run top 5 over there. That's pretty close, man. That's. I think it's looking interesting. My blood pressure's fine. My cheeks ain't very red. This was from shaving earlier, you know. I did just get out the shower about an hour ago, hour and a half. Ryan Timms is looking for a full-time driver for their hauler and I believe crew chief. It's on his Facebook page. I bet he joins a series. It'll be interesting, but there are not a lot of guys left. I mean, you saw Gravel and Jacob Allen talk about that. I believe it was last night on their show, how crew members are just hard to find. They're not out there. So wish Ryan Timms luck, but there's just not many of people who are down to do that. They're just not willing to do it. Local Indiana races don't pay nothing to win, $2,500 at most on a weekly. And the series itself is an Indiana weekly series. So Cincinnati, Ohio, baby. All right. Aaron Reitzel is the GOAT, I guess, because he stays in Iowa. Might be like how I do. I might stay in Iowa. Tyler Courtney is one. Well, how did that Chris Windom work out there for you, bud? Chris Windom ain't did nothing special at all in a wing car, and I don't think he's going to progress. I don't like, somebody said in a show the other day, how do you like NOS money kicking out great drivers for Chris Windom? Don't ask me, bud. It's a monetary-based sport. Talent to drive a car that's locked down with the wing. The car's not locked down with a wing. With a wing the size of a pickup truck bed and tires as big as a top fuel dragster, and you think that's talent. Well, the tires between the non-wing sprint cars and the wing sprint cars are pretty similar, I think. And I think that it's a little bit harder when a track does go dry slick with a wing car than a non-wing car. I know you're not on the throttle as much, but the speeds are extremely slower with a non-wing car. But I do think when you toss a wing car into a corner on a slick surface at 30 to 40 miles per hour faster on just as slick of a surface, even though you have a little bit more grip to be going that fast, I think that is a little more difficult. I think entering on a wall, full bore on a dry slick, cushioned up track, even had a few non-wing racers say this. I believe it was Stevie Sussex. He said the craziest thing he ever experienced was entering on the wall in a wing car, and he had to turn and it stuck, and it's like he never felt that feeling before. So I think that those things are what makes them better. You're doing stuff that's not logical, but you're making it work. So in my opinion, that's when it changes. Brady Bacon's one. But once again, guys, Brady Bacon is an ASCS driver. Remember that now. Thoughts on Larson saying today that Cup cars are too loud? I mean, and isn't it like fake mufflers to make them sound louder? Not sure. Absolutely, it is more driver talent, not wing sprint cars. Okay, that's what you think. Fine. The Chaz has been crabby lately. I don't get it. Matt Demme, he's right. I had the unfortunate experience of going to one of those lame-ass races, and the cars are way too loud for no reason. Why does 600 horsepower V8s need to be 2 times louder than a late model? They're just trying to be loud. They're trying to stick out because their product doesn't stick out, so they're trying to they're trying to falsify hype, in my opinion. Been to port with the Eastern Storm there, but cars running, the non-wing cars look so slow to the wing. They do. They look slower than 305s. I'm not saying speed equals talent, but I definitely am saying that, in certain conditions, I think that speed is a little harder to handle, especially when a track's dry slick like a port or something like that. I think it's a little bit harder. Raven Colt joining. Maybe he'll be a 410 Victor next year. Let's see here. Thoughts on Larson? Okay, they are too loud. Let's see. Any more comments? Are we closing her down? I was going to do some phone calls, but I don't think we're going to. We're closing in on an hour. We're already over an hour. Only plan on going an hour. We did have it happen live on the show today. Rico Abreu announcing high limit. So, where was the comment? I just saw something about Dale Blaney. Where's that at? Send some comments in their super chatter if you want. Tim Leland. Dale Blaney said that wing cars are easy as hell to drive the way they are outfitted today. His words, not mine. Okay. Justin Peck, or Pack, I'm assuming, translating here. Justin Peck is gnarly. I think Justin Peck is, I don't know why. I mean, obviously it's back to monetary reasons that he's not a national racer, but I think Justin Peck's a Sheldon Hodenschild style excitement racer. What's up with Klaus and Marshall? Are they running out of money? Not sure. CMR shutting down their midgets, and I heard they are done with non-wing. Makes sense, business sense. That race was Greg's last win there before Bap's crash. Okay, Chaz, thoughts on Maverick Sprint Car Series? We'll see what they can do. I mean, they need good wing sprint car racing in Indiana. It'll make the transition almost over. You think Riverside could hold the short track nationals? The Texarkana 67 Speedway is where the short track nationals was slated to be this year. So that's where they've moved that show, which is promoted by newly Rookie of the Year contender Landon Crowley's dad, Tim Crowley. So Greg Stab just signed with World of Outlaws. Okay. Is this somebody up in the politics of the sport? Is he going to change it all? Is that what's about to happen? Oh, boy. I'm saying in the future, I don't think they're going to move it from Texarkana 67, personally. But no, I would say no. The parking situation at Riverside is very interesting. I don't know. I wonder if they rope off the pitting area for the World of Outlaws. I think they're going to rope off the pitting area for the World of Outlaws at Riverside and potentially High Limit. That is a very, very small pitting area. Very small. Very, very small. But anyways, I think that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I guess thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow or Friday, we are going to have our call-ins. It might be tomorrow. Should we do our call-ins tomorrow? We should do it tomorrow. I think so. Thursday night. Oh, no. Football. Football is going to keep everybody away. How about Friday night? Wait, somebody said that Carson Macedo committed. Don't say that. Hold on. Maybe Friday night call-ins. Hold on. Let's see this. No, ain't no Carson Macedo committed today. Ain't no damn way. Let's see. No, there ain't no commitment announced. At least not on their Facebook. I ain't checking Twitter. They're just trying to keep me on here. I was going to leave earlier, and they told me about the Rico news. Thank you for doing that. $30 for the Kyle Larson banner. No, we're not selling the Kyle Larson banner for $30. I think it's worth way more than that. Potentially his last Chili Bowl victory. I mean, right there in use. What if High Limit got Macedo and Marks and Day? It is over for the Outlaws as far as attention. As a New England fan, I'll be listening to you before that game. Okay. So Friday night, we'll do our call-ins. How about that? We'll start it or stamp it right now. Friday night, live call-ins. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. The news just broke. If you do go back and rewatch this, it'll be a little bit before you hear about the Rico news. He said it while we were live. Want to give a big shout out to Brian Stewart, who actually sent a Venmo today to support the show. Haven't got to put his name up here at the top of the screen just yet, as he just did it here about an hour ago, hour and a half. But big shout out to Brian Stewart. If you want to join the support, makes everything a lot easier and keep on going, basically. Links are in the description to Venmo and PayPal, as well as channel memberships here right below the video, as well as the subscribe button that you should click. So do that for me today. Maybe, I ain't going to say 25,000 for the end of the year, but 10,000 by the end of the year. I don't think it's doable, but we can maybe get there. I think we're at 9.5 right now, but hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get to 10K by the end of the year. We're definitely going to get more views than 10K with the things that I'm hearing are about to happen, especially with the Dome coming up. It's going to be insane. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, like the video, comment below what you think. Once again, as always, subscribe. We will catch you next time.
Ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best, so we is how we ride. This is how we do.